they always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Hello everyone, once again. So what's good on the internet, what's good in life? I'm Akeem Balaam, aka LI495, with once again what I said I would do, and I have indeed delivered here on The Real Sports Talk, my special 10 minutes on the clock edition previewing the Olympic venues. I did one previewing some of the actual events for the Olympics, but I was actually, interested as well in some of these Olympic venues as well, in fact all of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and get right to it. It's really, in a sense, it's really spread out, but it's also compact in a sense. There are a lot of venues that are, that are used for the Olympics. Some of them are temporarily built. Some of them are new venues. Others are simply reusing old venues that were used for previous Olympics. I believe that the one venue that was used, that's still being used, is the Wimbledon tennis, and that was around, I believe, back in 1908. Wimbledon's been around for a long time. But some of these, get into some of these Olympic venues, and I want to start with, of course, where most of all this action's going to be taking place, and that is, of course, in the Olympic Park. And that is, I have this map displayed. As you see the Olympic Park, it's sort of northeast, I guess you could say, of downtown London. Not by much, but it's northeast of downtown London. You see the locations of downtown London as well as that of Big Ben. So you have that, and you have basically one of the largest Olympic parks that there have been for an Olympics, because normally Olympic parks are normally like, let's say, 5 venues, maybe 4 venues, 5 or 6 buildings, but this one is 11 buildings, 11 venues when you talk about the amount of competition as well as non-competition venues that there are for this Olympics. 11 venues in total. Of course, you have the main Olympic Stadium. Now you see the design for this main Olympic Stadium, and as I just talked about in a column for therealsportstalk.wordpress.com, I mentioned that this Olympic Stadium, the way it's designed, was not the way it was designed in the bid book. A lot of these venues that are designed now are not the way they were designed at all in the bid book. So what you have is that you got venues here that were not designed for the bid book. It wasn't originally designed to look like this. It was actually supposed to look like this. But then this happened, and as a result of that happening, this became that. So it's not exactly the grandiose architectural venue that they were trying to build, a la what Beijing did with their bird's nest in 2008. But Beijing spent $44 billion on their Olympics that they staged in 2008. London is spending a heck of a lot of cash. This is costing a pretty good bit, but it's nowhere near what Beijing hoard out for their games. So you have this Olympic Stadium, you have the aquatic center, as well as the water polo arena, which are right across from each other. They're in the Olympic Park. Also, you have the velodrome, which will host a lot of the cycling events, the indoor cycling events, as well as the BMX cycling, which was just recently added to the Olympics just for Beijing and is back once again for London. They did that because they're trying to bring in younger viewers like myself to the Olympics, because they figure, young people love to watch BMX, so let's get a little bit of the X Games into the Olympics. Who knows, maybe skateboarding will be next, and maybe they'll incorporate some more of the X Games into the Olympics. Moving on, you got the Copper Box, which it is called, which is going to host handball as well as the fencing portions of the modern pentathlon. You got the Riverbank Arena, which is going to host field hockey, and actually is being built with a blue turf. Insert Boise State joke right here. As well as the largest temporary arena that's ever been built for an Olympics, and that happens to be the basketball arena. Yeah, exactly. It actually looks like that. It looks like a base bag on a Major League Baseball field. It looks like an oversized base path, but you get the idea. Largest temporary venue ever built for an Olympic Games. I believe it's somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 seats. So you have that. That's your Olympic Park, in addition to, of course, the Olympic Village where all the athletes stay. And if we're supposed to believe recent reports, engage themselves in a lot of other extracurricular activities, but that's another video for another video. That's another video for another video streaming site, if you know what I mean. As well as you also have the International Press and Main Broadcast Center, which of course beams the games to the world. Moving on, you have these venues that are right along London's main river, the River Thames, and these are mainly 4 venues. You got the Excel Convention Center, which is going to host boxing, fencing, judo, table tennis, taekwondo, weightlifting, as well as wrestling. You got Greenwich Park, which is going to host modern pentathlon, running, shooting, riding, as well as the equestrian portions of the games. Something called the Royal Artillery Barracks, which you see there. It looks like white Swiss cheese. It looks like a white Swiss cheese kind of arena. Maybe that's where they got the inspiration for that. But it's very creative. I joke about some of the way some of these venues are built, but you got to give it to them for at least putting a little bit of oomph into the way they built Olympic venues, as well as the O2 Arena, which is going to be hosting gymnastics as well as the basketball finals, which I'm still predicting is going to be between, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people as well, is going to be between Spain and the USA. Moving on from that, also you have venues that are going to be spread wide out across the central portion of London, across metropolitan London. Of course, I mentioned Wimbledon. Also, there's something called the Earl's Court Exhibition Center. That's going to be hosting indoor volleyball. Horse Guards Parade, which has a really good view, if you can get a pretty good seat to that event, has a really good view of the London Eye. That's also near the Thames. That's going to be hosting beach volleyball. You got Hyde Park, that's going to host triathlon as well as the marathon swimming. There actually is something called marathon swimming in the Olympics. I guess that's their version of Central Park, Hyde Park. You got the Lord's Cricket's Ground, which is going to host the archery portion of the games. You got the long marathon course, which is actually going to start at something called the Mall, which is near Buckingham Palace. Regent's Park's got cycling. Wembley Stadium, of course, is going to have the football finals. Football, they call it. Soccer, Americans and Canadians call it, but we'll leave it there. We'll just call it football just for the sake of the game, since of course it's in the UK and they practically invented the thing. And there's the Wembley Arena. Now the thing that's going to host badminton and rhythmic gymnastics. Now the thing about that was that they originally planned to build a 12th venue in the London Olympic Park that's in the borough of Stratford. But the thing is that they felt that, okay, it would lead to cost overruns, so let's just move the badminton and the rhythmic gymnastics over to that thing that's near the Wembley Stadium called the Wembley Arena. So you have that. And also you have some of these venues that are actually going to be outside of Greater London, because you got to remember, it's called the London Olympics, but it's really the United Kingdom's Olympics. It's really England's Olympics when you think about it. It really is England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales Olympics. Of course, you have to have venues that are going to be outside of the general area. I mean, you got to remember, Atlanta had a lot of their venues outside of Atlanta, and hardly anybody could get to them because of all the freaking trees around there. But moving on anyway, you got Dorney Lake as well as Eton Dorney, which was actually practically built. It was just man-made built. It's a man-made built lake, a man-made built body of water. That's going to be hosting rowing as well as sprint canoeing. You got Hadley Farm in Essex. That's going to be hosting mountain biking. You got Lee Valley Whitewater Center, which I believe is north of London. That is going to be hosting canoe slalom. And the Weymouth Portland National and Sailing Academy, that will be hosting the sailing portion of the event. And the last Olympic venues that I want to get to are the football stadia. There are 5 other football stadia that London 2012 is going to be using, of course, other than the 90,000-seat new Wembley Stadium, which is going to be hosting the finals. The City of Coventry Stadium in Coventry, England, which real name is actually the Ricoh Arena. But the thing is that Ricoh is a sponsor. And unless your name is McDonald's or Coca-Cola or Adidas or Visa, or you get the picture, you're not going to be allowed to have your name on a stadium if you are an Olympic venue. So for the time being, for the Olympics, they're going to be called the City of Coventry Stadium. Also, there's Hampden Park, which was in the news recently, and in fact is the site of our first major Olympic story, the mistake that was caused when they displayed the South Korean flag aside the name faces and alongside the names on the main scoreboard of that arena when introducing the women's national soccer team, football team from North Korea. So I imagine that's getting a lot of press in the North Korean press, as well as the Korean press as well. A lot of Asian press there. Also, Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. You got Old Trafford in Manchester, England, home of Manchester United, and St. James Park, which is actually, I believe, is called the Sports. Which real name is actually the Sports Direct Arena, but is going to be called it's going to be under a different name for those Olympics just for the time being. The St. James Park Arena. So there are your Olympic venues for the 2012 Olympics. Once again, a lot of venues. It's really spread out across a lot of these different places alongside the River Thames in this Central Park, and also throughout London and also throughout the UK. So what do you think? It should be a great Olympics. Once again, rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Look forward to reading your comments. This has been a special edition of 10 Minutes on the Clock with Akeem Balaam, previewing the Olympic venues. Let the games begin, and see you on the internet someplace.